All right. Welcome back to another episode of Payables and Jables, where us non-critics criticize the movies and TV shows that we're watching. I'm JB,
Right?
and today we'll be covering season two, episode four of the HBO series The Last of Us. This episode is titled Day One. So, Brian, I'll give you the floor to start off. What were your initial thoughts on this episode?
All right. So definitely some mixed feelings here. There were some things I really liked. Really liked that we got Isaac's backstory. There were a couple of things that they fleshed out here, and we saw the origins. Isaac is a really minor character in the games, so it was cool to see him get fleshed out. But then there was a lot that I didn't like. There was a lot of things that I didn't like, including how the way that Dina's pregnancy is revealed. Also, just I think the whole back half ends up becoming really, really weak narratively as well. So definitely, we can dive into it a little bit more. So I gotta say, the front half I liked. There was a lot of things that I liked, but a big thing that they cut out that is one of my biggest issues is that they have indeed cut out all of Tommy's stuff. And we have already missed out on a lot where some really, really dope, crazy scenes that show, how brutal Tommy is. And
Yeah.
basically, there's a whole segment in the game where
Well, so
Ellie,
before you do that,
okay,
I'm just wondering, should we how like so since the game is it's proving the show is pretty different from the game. I mean, what should I, we probably should have this discussion not live on the podcast, but like how much do we want to spoil the game? Because I'm just wondering like if there are people who want to play the game uh and they haven't played the game and the story, I mean, this the story there's a lot of different elements to it. I'm just wondering how much do we want to talk about the differences. I think it's good to talk about the differences of the game. We've been doing that for every episode that we've been reviewing the show for. But, season one was like pretty, followed it pretty closely, right? Whereas season two is definitely taking its, creative
Liberty.
freedoms.
Yeah.
Yeah, creative liberties. So since this Tommy stuff seems to be like drastically different, I'm just wondering how much we want to give away if there are folks who, still want to
Full
play the game.
spoilers. Full spoilers,
You
dude.
want to go
Let's
full
do
spoiler
it.
on it?
I do. I do. I
All
want to
right.
talk.
All right, well okay, that's fine.
Well,
I'm
my
fine with
my
that.
question, for me, I think it more pertains to you. If you want to play the game someday, then that would matter more to me. But right now, hey, spoiler alert.
No, no, I don't really care about me. It's more about like just people listening.
Yeah,
That's all I want to do. I just want to
sure.
establish because I think we've already definitely talked about some game spoilers that are different, like the whole Tommy going
Okay.
off on his own thing, right? Like that's so different. So, all
So
right,
different.
I think we'll establish that now.
Okay.
There will be game spoilers that Bryant will spoil because I don't know
Oh,
shit. So we're establishing that now. I'm glad we had this conversation live on air. Okay, go ahead. So continue with what you're
awesome.
saying.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's a whole segment. So basically how it plays out is Ellie and Dina are tracking Tommy right now. And Tommy has, a full day and a half ahead of him. And they come across two people that Tommy interrogated the exact same way that Joel interrogated in the first season. Remember how he was like, "You better mark it on the map," and this guy better say the same thing.
Hmm.
Did it the same way, exact same way. And Ellie sees the interrogation method and is able to pinpoint, and that's how you know it was Tommy because she's seen it with Joel. And it just kind of goes to show how brutal Tommy is, and is willing to resort to in order to, hunt down Abby. And then there's some more, he ends up killing some pretty important characters later that I don't know where they're gonna go with that. Tommy's a menace, dude. Like straight up. He is a straight up harbinger of death. And at one point, even you have a boss battle as Abby where this sniper starts attacking her whole crew, and you're just playing as Abby, And it's a really great boss battle where this sniper is straight up legit, picking everybody off one by one, and everybody's like, holy shit, like this guy's a menace. And then you realize later that it's Tommy, and then Tommy ends up killing several of characters that are Abby's friends. And then before they're able to get away, and it's a really great boss battle, and it really shows from another point of view, how dangerous somebody like Joel and Tommy must have been, in the other perspective. And it's so, obviously that's not going to be a part of the show.
Yeah.
Uh, he's still in Jackson. He's still in Jackson. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it drives me nuts. I'm like, bro, what are you still doing here? Uh,
Yeah.
so so that's a really incredible segment of the game. And when you realize you don't know it's Tommy, so when you do realize that it's Tommy, you're like, whoa, this is so
Yeah.
good. So but we'll have to see. And then another part that I really don't like right now is just the entire like just Ellie's whole attitude right now. And I just we'll talk about that later too, but I'm just there's not I need anger. I need that, in the video game there's a whole like sense of desperation, anger, like obsession, straight up obsession with killing Abby. That's all she cares about. And I can't there's she's having a great time out here. I'm like, what is going on? She's having a blast. She's having the time of her life. And I'm like, like
Yeah. Strolling around Capitol Hill, just,
dude,
playing
I'm like,
guitar. They're, getting laid, I
yeah,
mean,
getting laid. I'm like, what is going on, dude? I don't like this. How'd you feel?
yeah, no. And before I go to that, I just want to say we won't spoil future things that haven't happened in the show.
Yeah,
Right. It's more about like things that points we've already gotten to. Like obviously this whole Tommy thing, that's not where they're going in the show. So we're okay to, but yeah, just to establish, like, Brian's not going to spoil future things in the video game that haven't happened in the show.
yeah.
We'll avoid those. But yeah, I mean, I think this was my least favorite episode of the season so far.
Really? Oh my God, I might have liked this
Um,
less than episode one, dude, and I didn't like episode one.
yeah, like I found myself mixing Jackson. Like I actually, some of my favorite parts of the season so far are what they're doing with Jackson, like what they're doing in Jackson. I really like that. I think, that's a good deviation from the game because, from what you
Mm-hmm.
said, the game doesn't really give a shit about Jackson. So I actually like what they were doing there. So I found myself missing Jackson and the characters there. I thought the pacing of this episode was weird. Like, I don't know. It just like it felt like, yeah, it was very this episode very felt very split up where it was like they're super chill and they're like totally fine, and then they're like danger, 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 and then it's like they just like happen to kind of get out of it kind of by like luck, and then it's like then they're super chill and super fine to the point where they're like having sex in some, I don't even, some abandoned like theater thing, and like it just like felt weird because like you said, like they're just like kind of having a good time, like, and
Dude, they're
dude, again, it went back to our discussion last time. They're being so careless.
careless.
Like they're just walking around the city, open city, on horseback, can clearly be seen midday. I mean, it's crazy, and like she's climbing on top of tanks and dropping the tank lid, and they're going into the music shop, and Dina's hitting the like banging on the guitar. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like,
Messing around, dude.
it's just like it's kind of pissing me off how careless they're being, and I just don't really understand that because it's just making it hard for me to, I don't know, feel like they're, it's kind of like they're in legitimate danger because I feel like the wolves would have found them already. I mean, they obviously have eyes in the sky, like they own the city. So it's just, I don't know. That part just is still kind of baffling to me how like they just continue to have Ellie be kind of dumb,
Yeah.
and I don't really understand it. So I don't know why that's the route they're going, but I mean, I think yeah. I mean, it was super prevalent this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, how are they going to pull this off? I'm like, honestly, I'm
yes,
like, get the hell out of there, dude. You are a danger to nobody.
yeah.
Absolute nobody. Like right now, I'm like, honestly, like one person shows up and I'm like, they're fucked.
Oh
They're so,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I for sure. I agree. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
I mean, honestly, the when they're in the tunnel, like they kind of got saved by the infected coming because
Totally saved, dude.
they
I was
no
like,
no those yeah those
it was
wolves
a
were gonna find
terrible
them and
idea. I was
yeah
like,
yeah. So no, I agree. I mean, I don't know how it is in the game. Like, how are you moving around in the city of the game? Are you going like building to building and it's like dark or
so there is the whole Seattle part. So the part where she plays the guitar is a part in the game that is totally missable. So when you first get to Seattle, it
oh
actually is like the biggest map that I think Naughty Dogs has done so far that is widely explorable. And basically you're looking for clues and you're trying to scavenge around. And but like they're not messing around. I want to be clear. And at some point, Ellie finds a guitar and then plays it. But it's a lot more somber, when she finds it. Here, they did a good job making it emotional and having Dina like find that connection to it. But in the game, they're more like nuggets of happiness in very dark times, and I really like that about the game and for me in the game, like Ellie and Dina's relationship kind of blossoms into something that is a good thing in the midst of a very dark time. And that's kind of how I was hoping that the show would approach it. But Ellie is locked in, dude. Like I'm straight up does not give a fuck about anything except for finding Abby and killing the fuck out of her. And and so it when she finds the guitar and she starts playing, it's a really beautiful moment. And I think they did do a good job of that in the show, the actual moment. But I agree, I was like, they're messing around. She's like, oh, there's a tank. And she's like, oh, what's in the tank? And Max slams the door open like so
yeah
carelessly. And then they stick around and they're like, oh, I guess nobody must be around. And then they could just go exploring the block. And I was like, oh my God, dude.
yeah
Oh my
no,
God.
I agree. I mean, it was wild, like just
Yeah.
the carelessness they had.
But there's a big part in the game that they completely cut out as well, where they get ambushed in the city, and they basically the horse is killed off. Like they step on a mine, and it explodes. The horse is killed, and Ellie and Dean are captured right away. And it's one of the friends of Abby that finds them and ties them to a chair. They're about to kill them. Right, this dude, I'm talking like this is like 20 minutes in Seattle.
Oh wow. Okay.
And Ellie has to kill the fuck out of them. And she is absolutely brutal, locked in, and and Dina saves her and everything, but Dina almost dies, and it's like a whole thing, and that's how they end up in the subway in that part. But then yeah, so it's right off the bat, Ellie has already like killed somebody pretty close to Abby, and now she's off to a good start, is finds like several clues and is actually smart about the clues, picks things up right away, and but here, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys here? You guys have, and
Yeah,
then
there's no shot.
yeah,
It's a suicide mission.
they literally stumble upon a radio, and that's how they find out about everything. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God, dude, that's so stupid.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I'll give some credit to Dina because she is like definitely the smarter one
She's
of
the
the two.
MVP.
It's like Ellie would be dead already. Obviously, we talked about last episode. Like Ellie was just leaving with guns. It's like, all right, well, you can't. What are you gonna eat? How are you gonna stay warm? But then even like the scene where Ellie sees they see the tower and it says WLF. Ellie's like, all right, there it is. Let's go. Dina's like, dude, you really think like if they didn't want to be found, they would just write their name on the highest building in Seattle? She's like, no. So like she like I will say Dina. I'll give some credit to Dina. She's doing some smart things, but yeah, overall, I mean, it's super. It just feels like the odds are so stacked against them, and they
Yeah.
always were, and they always were,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of like the story, and but and I knew things would happen along the way. There, people would be introduced. They would kind of, I mean, they would get lucky in circumstances, and they would kind of just
Sure.
fall into where they would be. But like this is almost like
She's
too
just
much.
unqualified. She's just
Yeah,
unqualified, dude. We're like right now. I'm
yeah.
like, dude, get
It's
your
like
ass.
where did her training go? Like
Yeah.
where the training she had, the last 5 years in Jackson and before that with her, time with Joel, like
Yeah.
where I feel like that's all going out the window. Like it just, I don't know. I haven't really seen it. So it's just weird. It's just weird what they're doing with that.
Yeah.
But
This is again, we talked about this before. This is the same girl that had to fend for herself for weeks when Joel
yeah,
was incapacitated, hunting, surviving on her own in the wintertime, carrying a 50-year-old man place to place, and I'm just like, this
this is a
this
girl who
Ellie,
got
this
she
is
got
dead.
captured by cannibals
Cannibals,
and got out of it alive and killed
cannibals,
all of them.
and then
She
killed
burned
all
she
of
burned
them.
down the whole thing. Like literally. No, it's crazy. It's
Yeah. Who is this?
I'm almost, I almost feel like they're going really heavy on the Ellie Dina relationship, which
Mhm.
I have no problem with them doing that. But like I almost feel like that has taken precedence over kind
Yeah,
of what they're there to do, like what their objective really is.
yeah,
Because you're right. I mean, it's very like lackadaisical and like dilly dallying and like, oh, we'll do this, do
yeah,
that. And it's like
yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like they've like at least lost sight of what she's there to
Dude,
do.
yeah. And I think
And then maybe
that's
that's
my
not fair to her, but it
That's my
feels that
biggest
way.
problem though. I totally agree. I just, like there's no I need the rage, I need, she doesn't have to be like screaming and yelling and everything all the time, but like I want to see like some sense of urgency, to find, like they wake up in the morning and they would have spent all morning cuddling. They would have spent the entire morning cuddling
Yeah,
if they didn't hear something on the radio. And I'm
yeah,
like, "Ugh."
yeah. I know. Um, let's jump back to the beginning real quick because you mentioned
Sure.
Isaac, which was cool. So we
Yes,
got
let's talk about
we
some
got
good things. Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright, which
Yeah.
love him, great
Josh
actor.
Peck.
Josh Peck. I was gonna ask you, did you see someone else in there that you recognize? Josh Peck, dude. I saw Josh Peck and I was like, he's gonna die. There's no way this dude's not gonna die in the first like 2 minutes of this episode. Like no way he becomes a recurring character. Would have been great. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I thought that was a cool little like
Yeah.
jump back they did. We got to meet Isaac, who we still don't know a ton about. I mean, we know he's part of the WLF. He seems like
Yeah.
he's some sort of commander, if maybe he is like the commander. But he was Fedra at one point
Hmm.
in the past, and then we saw him quickly.
Yeah.
That was just a facade. He clearly, um, you know, went over to the wolf side and
First and
killed
last
his.
day.
Yeah,
First
man.
and
I
last
mean,
day at work,
dude, that
dude.
was so ruthless when he went up and he just turned around and he went up with like the two gas grenades there and just threw them in. I mean, that was
Yeah.
crazy. That was
Crazy.
crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
Immediately established like how ruthless this guy is.
Yeah.
As did the torture scene too. I mean,
The torture scene was crazy. We got full nudity, dude. I was
yeah, we
like,
did.
whoa.
Yeah, full nudity. I thought he was gonna take that pan dude and
I
like
did too.
put
Why
it
else
put
would they
it
show it?
somewhere else than his hand.
I was like, why else would they show us all of it if
And let's be honest,
unless
man, you're trying to get someone to talk. You don't burn the top of your hand. You probably like put that dude's nutsack on the pan, and then he might talk. Like I mean, that was like fucked up thought, but like
Yeah.
I was immediately like, dude, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's better ways of doing this, but yeah. So that was crazy. So that's cool. I mean, I'm excited to see what we get
Yeah.
from this Isaac character. Um,
Also, the soldier the guy where it was like his first day, I'm assuming, or
yeah,
something, and then he gave him the choice to choose, which obviously wasn't a real choice, but
no,
no. But I thought it was cool to see what he had turned into, later,
oh
and
yeah,
he's a full-fledged WLF, he's a full
yep.
wolf, so pretty
and
cool to
and
see.
he's ruthless himself now. Like
Yeah,
just his honestly, that actor did really well there because in the
yeah,
beginning he's just like he's just like this new like soldier, and he just looks
yeah,
scared and like
bright-eyed, yeah,
bright eyed, yeah,
yeah.
naive.
And then
Uh,
Stone Cold,
and then
bro.
like yeah, he's like he knows what he's doing. He's like fuck
Yeah,
those scars or whatever he says. I'm
yeah,
like damn.
yeah,
So yeah, that's cool. I'm curious to see, and I think that's really all we got of Isaac.
yeah,
It was really just in the beginning that flashback and then the torture scene, but. I mean, I assume we're gonna get a lot more of them going forward, so that would be cool.
Yeah.
Um, what else? What else? What else good?
That's
Well, what other good things do you have to say about this episode?
Oh, good things. Yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever,
That's
we hammered on it for a little bit in the first 10 minutes, so I figured
true.
we.
That's true. Other things that I liked, Isaac's backstory was definitely huge. And I really liked the way that they expanded on that. Again, he's a really minor character. Another thing that I think is really interesting is, the way that they are portraying the Seraphites, right? And in the game, they are really like they're just all you see is the brutal savagery on that side. So for us to really see that, they're being portrayed as, very much so as like that oppressed people, so it's really interesting
Although,
to
I
me.
mean, this episode they portrayed them as some pretty brutal people. I mean,
Oh yeah, the
we got
intestines.
the sign. Yeah, we got. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, so I think in last episode it was like, oh, they're this peaceful religious, and
yeah,
now we got this episode is like, no, I mean they're so. I think it's good because they're probably complicated like everyone is,
yeah,
and there's good side to them, there's bad side to
yeah.
them. So I like that.
And
It seems like they're
that's
yeah.
something that I think Neil Druckmann does really well. All throughout his video games, all throughout in all of his games, he always tries to keep like that moral gray point, even in
Yep.
season one, right? Joel, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Depends on
Joel.
the,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, and I really like that, and they're definitely fleshing that out about the Seraphites. So I'm really interested to see, but yeah, the way that those people were hanging, that is also straight out of the video game, and it was crazy. But even seeing that portrayed in live action is way crazier. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah.
Apparently those people hanging were like actual stunt men and
People?
women. I mean, yeah, like they were obviously
Yeah, just hanging? Oh,
hanging like yeah.
that that's interesting. Why wouldn't
Yes,
they
they
use
they had them they had
armor?
them like suspended up and obviously the gut stuff was like whatever their makeup
Oh, they
and
were real.
prosthetics and all that.
Oh, the guts
The guts
were
were
like,
real. That was their real guts and then they're all at the hospital now, yeah. But no, I saw that there was like because I just assumed it was like mannequins or whatever they were
yeah,
using.
me
Like
too.
I didn't or like whatever they use like latex, whatever.
Like fake body.
But yeah, apparently they were like real people, so that was kind of
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
That's gotta be wild. Like you just have to sit there for 6 minutes, like
Yeah.
hang, like suspended, just
Honestly,
being
for
dead.
me, yeah, for me, I'm like, why didn't you just get mannequins?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Is it cheaper to hire 6 people to do that for 10 minutes, or is it cheaper to make like latex mannequins? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
might be cheaper to hire people. I thought that part was kind of cool because dude, that felt exactly out of a video game because
Yeah,
they go in there, right? They're searching around, and
even the way
then
that they,
and then the wolves come in and they hide, and then the dialogue from everything from the dialogue and the way that like these people kind of strut around like an NPC would when they're trying to search for you and they're like oh they're not here and then you scuffle around and you like stab them like that literally like even the guy was like fan out find them
they
I feel
literally
like it
say
was
that in
like
the game
I
too.
feel like I was
Yeah.
playing like Arkham Asylum, like literally. Like it's like fan out, find them, and like I don't care if it's little girls or whatever, like kill them. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is such a video game. So that was kind of cool, like
That was
cool
cool.
callback. Because even if you haven't played this game specifically, like if you played action games, like I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many games that have those kind of scenarios, yeah, where you're sneaking around, hiding and stuff. So that was
Yeah.
funny.
Couple cool shots there, like Dina, like the flashlight beaming right over them, and
Yep,
they're just like hiding behind like the boxes, and the lights like just got like going over their heads. Yeah, pretty
yep.
cool. Yeah, agreed.
Now, I don't know. I had a little bit of problem with like Ellie being able to sneak up the stairs. I'm like, really, like how they not see or hear that? So again, this is like the NPC
Yeah,
shitty, like, just henchmen in a video game
yeah,
who are terrible and don't know dick. Like that's kind of what it felt like, but whatever, I'll let it go.
yeah.
And then dude, she takes down that guy and like, listen, I know Ellie's a badass, not as much in this show, but she still like can hold her own. We've seen it. But like, dude, that guy is significantly bigger than her. Like, I had a hard time believing that she could maybe
Tackle.
she tackled him. If she went up and like stabbed him in like the thigh or like took out like sliced his calf, okay, totally different
Went
ballgame.
for
But
the
now I
went for
mean,
the
dude,
NFL tackle.
yeah, it was like an MMA, and then she's going for the choke out, and I'm like, this guy could literally stand up and then like jump backwards just on his back, and it would crush her. Like it would knock the wind out of her and crush her. And I was like,
Probably maybe
okay,
kill her.
potentially. I mean, he was significantly bigger than her. So like, I don't know. I was like, really, this is like how we're doing it. Like, you could have had her at least, I don't know, slice his calf or something and like brings him down. Like I could believe that a little more. But again, whatever. I mean, I'm nitpicking. It's a show. Like I know it's not going to be
Yeah.
hyper
I
realistic.
I did think the infection scene was handled really well too. Really high intensity. Just they're just do really going all out with the entirety of the hordes thing. So which is cool. And then
Yeah,
so then in the game, they spores are a thing. So the way that you find out, Ellie and Dina have a scene where Ellie gets into a fight and her gas mask breaks. And then Dina like freaks out and is like willing to try to share her gas mask so that Ellie doesn't turn to what she thinks. And Ellie like freaks out at her and basically tells her in like the heat of the moment that she is immune. And at the point, Dina has no point except to accept it because Ellie's not coughing and she's completely fine, breathing in all these spores. And it is really intense, and they have to run. And then when they get away, they have a conversation, and that's when Dina tells her that she's pregnant. But I thought the game or the show handled that reveal really well. Just the part where Dina has to find out that Ellie is immune,
yeah,
where she takes the bite instead of
yep,
Dina, right? And then has to tell her afterwards. But I think that the way that they revealed Dina's pregnancy and the way that Ellie reacted to it is might be one of the worst written dialogue scenes
agreed.
of the show, dude.
Totally agree. Yeah,
Literally,
yeah,
this challenges, and you are pretty handsome. Congrats on that. Like one of the worst lines in the TV that, like really bad lines. And then just like, I'm gonna be a dad is potentially just as bad, dude.
yeah. Okay, all right.
Like,
Yes. Okay, so we're here now.
okay.
Okay, so let's take a step back
Okay.
for that. The tunnel scene I thought was
Yes.
very intense. They are giving us what we wanted with more infected. I mean, we're getting like a horde an episode. So I love that. I think they're doing that great. Also, these people got to stop dropping hot, bright things anywhere they want on the ground. This
Dude,
is the
for real,
second
dude.
time we've seen they drop the flare, and then the tendrils, it activates the fungus, and then here comes the horde. Like people got to fucking stop just putting this shit anywhere they want because it's just that's what's screwing everyone up.
They
Um,
did include a really quick line of dialogue where it seemed like they were supposed to have cleared it. So that
yes,
which does help because I agree that was pretty careless and
sure,
but
and I get it. I mean, you're throwing random flares. I'm kind of joking around. It's just
yeah,
we've seen a pattern now. I mean, like
yeah,
this stuff can be anywhere. It kind of makes me think like this fungus just be anywhere. Like you could just be walking around, like they could be in that abandoned music shop, and she steps on a patch of this, and she doesn't even know, and it just activates it, and here comes a horde of
thousands of
zombies.
infected. Yeah,
I mean, it seems like that's the case, and it's like I don't know,
yeah,
maybe it grows in like pipes and like darker, wet places, so maybe that's
it's like
what they're
fungus.
doing, which makes sense. Yeah, but I mean, man, like this whole tendril system, like they're really hammering
Yeah,
that, which I like because I think they took that criticism from last season and said,
yeah,
all right, let's definitely use that. So that was cool. Um, and then yeah, I mean, again, a great another scene of just like, I mean,
yeah,
dude, that they're like moving through that train
yeah. Stuck
and
in that train.
it's
Yeah,
just a horde busting through the windows and doing
yeah.
anything they can to get. I mean, it's brutal, bro. I mean, it's like your heart starts racing. Like it's
Yeah.
so intense. So they do those scenes so well, I think.
Very well,
Um,
very well.
and I mean, and even like the like in the train, like they fall in, there's just like skeletons, like there's just dead bodies. So not only are they moving, like they're moving through those, but there's also the infected trying to come in. So I thought that was really good. And I thought the way they had Ellie get bit was actually pretty cool. Like I thought that was a really good way for her to like have to sacrifice her arm,
Yeah.
because they're stuck in this, the turnstile.
Mhm.
So I thought that was really cool. Um, now it also made me think, like I just have random thoughts when I'm watching this stuff. Dude, I feel like in an apocalypse like this, like you would get tetanus like immediately. Like everything is so
Yeah.
rusty. Like when they're
I
moving through that turnstile or
yeah.
even the train, I'm like, dude, you're gonna get cut on something and you're gonna get tetanus and you didn't have it. You know, you're not updated on your shot because they don't have the
Dude,
shots.
yeah, not just that though, I'm like, when was the last time that infected brushed their teeth, and the
Oh
nasty,
yeah.
and I'm like,
Even
okay,
if you're not, even if you're
even if
immune,
it's
that's
you're
still
not infected, yeah,
gross.
you might not be infected with whatever the cordyceps, but you could be infected many other ways,
You
dude.
could get like yeah, they probably
Yeah,
give you like yeah, they give you like freaking I
yeah,
don't know,
that shit is
gonorrhea, like whatever they give
nasty.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
disgusting. It's
yeah.
disgusting. But yeah, I thought so. I guess before we get to the scene after, like, any other thoughts on that tunnel scene or the
No,
subway?
yeah, I thought I overall I agree. I do think that was definitely like the highlight of the episode. And for me, at that point I was like, okay, this is another solid entry, like again, my biggest problem was cutting out all the Tommy stuff and
Yeah,
just the amount of and another thing that whole element and added was, that heightened sense of urgency again, because not only are they trying to catch
yeah,
Abby, but they're trying to catch Tommy before, something bad happens to Tommy, so it's just, it is just like they can't really stop. They got to keep going, it's just, time is clicking, right? So, that's something that, but that beside, I was feeling like it was a solid entry, but then everything fell apart at the movie theater, so.
yeah. The also one other question for you before we get to that. The thing Dina does where she listens for the clickers and counts them with her fingers. She's like, is
Yeah.
that like something? Is that a callback to the game? Does she do
Yeah,
that in the game or is that okay?
Yeah, so there's a listening mode. So
Yes.
basically,
Okay.
you get to see like the shadows of everything. So like around you. Basically, it's like the detective mode in
Hmm.
Arkham.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it is. So I guess that's what she's using.
That's kind of cool, I guess. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But then she counts five clickers and then like a horde of
And
zombies come.
loses.
So it doesn't really matter. But
Well,
yeah.
I think she lost count. It was all.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like there were
Yeah.
so many, she gave up on counting. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we'll talk about the movie theater. I, okay. Yeah. So we go from the reveal, which I thought was actually cool. Like I thought Dina, I thought the Isabella Merced, whatever, she did a great
She's a great
job there, I
actress.
thought. I think
Her
she like
acting is really good.
her
Yeah.
acting's good, like her facial expressions and all that. Like I thought she did really good there, and it was very intense because I was like, dude, if I was her, I'd probably shoot Ellie in the head. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? Like that's and then I thought the way that like I also thought Bella Ramsey did a good job. Like I felt like that like helplessness where it's like, oh my God, I need to like just make my plea as best I can for not to kill me because once she understands, like, it will be okay. So I thought they did a good job in that moment. And I thought it was all honestly all fine, like you said, up until like the 30 seconds of it goes from she thinks she's infected, Dina thinks Ellie's infected, to I'm pregnant, to then just having sex on the
Pregnant
floor.
sex. Yeah.
And I was like, what the like that was the weirdest sequence
Dude.
of
Oh.
events slash things to say. Like, yeah, the pregnant thing, I don't know why
Yeah.
they had her say that and then they immediately started banging. Like, realize she's not infected, then they can, because that makes sense. Then you start kissing, you're like, oh my God, thank you, thank God you're okay. And then all that happens. And then maybe at the end of the episode, be like, I'm pregnant, like reveal it in that way. Or even when they're like on the floor, like in the morning, right? But just like for her to say it and then they just start kissing, I just like, I did not understand that at all. It was really weird.
Like,
Really
yeah,
weird.
I agree. If it was just from the relief of Ellie being, like in
Yeah.
that sense, I do think it like kind of worked. But I just, I agree. I think if she said it in the morning, it would have been better. But I think what bothered me the most, other than the super cringy line of like, I'm gonna be a dad and everything, is, in the game, Ellie's very upset when Dina tells her. She's like, "You're pregnant? The fuck you mean you pregnant?" And she's like, how long have you known? And Dina's like, a couple of days or weeks or something, and she's like, we still could have turned back, and she's like, I didn't want to be a burden, and Ellie's like, well, you're definitely a burden now, and is very upset that Dina basically hid that she's pregnant
Hmm.
because now that's a life that they have to take care of. Like this isn't, it's not a joke. They're
Yeah,
somewhere very dangerous.
yeah.
They're risking their lives. And Ellie is very capable and very, was very down to do this alone, but Dina insisted on coming, right? So, um, in that sense, and Ellie was pissed. She was absolutely pissed. And then, but here, Ellie's ecstatic. I was like, first of all, it's not your kid. Like,
I know.
it's not
And
your
I,
kid.
s- I literally yelled
What
that
up?
out, and then I will say, to her credit, like 10 seconds later, she goes, "Well, actually, it's Jesse's kid,
Like,
so it's the three of ours." And I was like, "Okay,
uh,
well, it's
it's
not your kid."
it's not your kid. You're not the dad. To be
Yeah,
clear, Jesse's the dad, okay? And Jesse's alive. Jesse's, he's not going anywhere. So like for you to like make these claims being
yeah.
like, I'm the dad. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, and dude, I mean, literally, this is the first time they hooked up. Besides the kiss on New Year's Eve, which was whatever, the first time they hooked up, and now she's like, "We're having a baby." Like,
Oh,
I didn't know if you wanted this. And Dana's like, "I
oh
didn't know if you
yeah.
wanted this life." I'm like, "What
Yeah.
life? Like, you guys
Yo,
aren't even a
yo,
couple.
first of all, no, no, yeah, like
You're not even officially dating. Like,
yeah.
it's the flings and
Literally
start."
when you guys are camping, you were like, oh, kiss didn't mean anything. Yeah, this is just jokes, just jokes.
I
And
was
now
just
like,
so
oh, we're
weird, man.
starting a family together. Slow down.
Yes, that's exactly the vibes I
Jesse
got, and
doesn't
I was
even
like,
know. Jesse doesn't even know. He
I
doesn't
was
even
like, dude, that
know.
makes none of that. Like, none of that worked. I don't. They did not. None of
None
that
of that.
worked.
None of
Like, they
that.
did not. Yeah. I again,
And
like, I thought like them hooking up on all that. I thought that worked because like they've been building up to that, and it was clearly like Ellie had feelings for Dina, Dina had feelings for Ellie. Like that was clear. The the pregnancy thing, I don't know. I think they butchered that part of it. So
yeah, but in the game, Ellie and Dina hook up way before this, so
yeah,
they hook up when they find Eugene's whole pot stash, and in hindsight, I do like that part too because basically, while Joel is like struggling and about to get his head bashed in, what is Ellie doing? She's getting high and getting laid, and that kind of adds to that guilt and for Ellie about what was she doing while Joel was in trouble, right? And I
yeah,
really like that aspect too. And I would have been okay with them not going that route if they were saving it for something big, which they were, but this just didn't work for me. So now I'm like,
yeah.
now we sacrifice that extra motivation for Ellie, for what, So I'm like, okay, so none of this is working right now. And then she's like, "Oh, it's up to you. You can come with me if you want." The fuck do you mean? What do you mean? She can't come, dude. I'm like,
No,
what?
she should go back.
She
She should
absolutely
go
should not
back
go.
to Jackson.
You know,
She now
and
has a kid in her. She should go back to
yeah,
Jackson. Like
yeah,
this
and
is this is three lives at stake now, not just
yeah.
two. Like,
And now in the game, Ellie, this was not even a question for Ellie. She's
yeah.
like, you're not fucking coming with me anymore, and then go solo. So and she's like, please come with me. And I was like, oh, what is going on? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this?
Yeah.
Like, oh
Yeah.
my, I just,
I yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, even like the infected part, like I don't know. It's just like if I were Dina, like I would still be like, all right, there's a small chance that you could maybe it just like works slower on you. Like I'm just gonna start fucking making out with you and stuff, and like you're just I don't know, man. Like she still has she's the bite on her arm, and they're definitely like just touch. I was just like, what is going on? It just felt so out of place. That whole scene felt very like
dude.
I don't know. It just didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing there. I really
The
don't.
I do want to say the game did add a line that I thought would have been way funnier, where when the exchange between Dina and Ellie is like pretty serious, it's very, very serious. And Dina's like, basically says like Ellie, I'm pregnant. And Dina's like, it's like, what the fuck do you mean you're pregnant? And then Dina's like, don't worry, it's not yours. And
That's yeah, that's pretty
it's
good.
a very subtly like humorous line that I thought was really good. That I think,
That's better than I'm a dad. That's
yeah,
just so much
and
better than oh I'm gonna be a dad.
it would have worked miles better than what they did in the show. And I just think that I think that the writing in the show just surpasses this on all levels, you know. But it
Yeah,
is a funny, it's kind of a really funny joke, you know. She's like, it's like, relax, it's not yours, you know.
right. Which is clearly what she's not what she's worried about. But
She's
yeah,
not, that's not what she's worried about. But
yeah,
here, you know,
exactly.
that's what she wants. It's what she's hoping for.
I yeah, man. So anyway,
Anyway,
that was not great. I also like. I mean, maybe they'll this conversation will happen next episode or something. But I mean, my first question to Ellie would be like, "How are you immune? Like, how the hell did that happen?"
oh yeah,
And like, I mean, that would be the first thing on my mind. Like, how? Wait, are you telling me like there's a chance that like there's some cure, blah blah blah? So I don't know, maybe that happens. But then also, um, well, I totally blanked on what I was gonna say. It was something else related on that. I'll come back to it. I'll
how
come
are
back
you
to it.
immune? Okay.
Yeah, it was somewhat immunity. Oh, yeah. So why do you think Ellie kept this from Dina
I
all that
think
time?
as a whole, it is definitely better to keep it a secret. You know, just one, it's like, you know, like shouldn't you,
Sure.
you know, this sounds really important. Shouldn't you be trying to do something? You know? But then also be like, if you're immune, can you make me immune? You know, it just kind of starts bringing upon a lot of questions
Yeah.
that they don't want answers to, I would
I
say.
mean Dina specifically though. I mean at this point, like it feels like she would tell Dina anything. So especially with Joel gone, because now the only person in the world who knows is Tommy and
Mm.
Ellie. So it's like, I don't know. I would have thought she would have told Dina because honestly, that would help with, you don't have to get in this situation where
Yeah,
it's like a life and death where Dina is going to shoot you because she thinks you're infected. You could have avoided that. Hey,
that's true.
on your fucking 3 week journey to Seattle, you could have said something like, hey, and this is the game didn't do this either. This is just kind of me like
Yeah,
kind of questioning that, right? I don't really buy that. Like I would have thought that conversation would have happened. Like, hey, by the way, we're going into it. It's possible I get bit. By the way, I'm immune. And it's
yeah.
like then they had that conversation.
I
So that
agree.
just felt weird to me.
It does seem like relevant information that perhaps would have been better to have been
Yeah,
shared.
like Dina being pregnant was also relevant
Yeah.
information. They're holding a lot of information from each other. It's big things. I don't know. Um, but then
Yeah.
yeah, and then I guess that kind of brings us to the end there on that rooftop. I thought that was a cool kind of overlook. Like we saw this like massive battle going on, just like in downtown Seattle or whatever. And I thought that was really cool. And I was like, oh, this city is
Yeah.
in some shit right now, and they are going to be in some shit.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like kind of a cool shot and a cool scene. Kind of sets the stage for what's coming. But again, the dialogue on the roof was bad, like you pointed out. Again, I mean, it was just her being like, "No, you can't come. Things are different now." And I was like, "Yeah, things are different
Yeah.
now." And then Dina's like, "No, I'm going," and she's like, "Okay." It's just like, what?
Yeah.
I, that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
And you know, I think for me they are one the show currently is tonally very confused. It doesn't know what kind of tone to shoot for right now, you know. And I think that like I said before, revenge is a huge theme of the video game. And right now I'm just not getting that, you know, like
Yeah,
already at this point in the video game where they are about to head over to where they're going to head over to, there's a body count. Okay, there is a body count of several people that were important to both sides, and there is zero. There is one nameless guy that has died, and for me,
true.
that is already right now that it's just what is going on, like this is not even close to hammering home the theme that the video game has already made very, very, very clear at this point of the story, and at this, we only have 3 episodes left, right? So I'm just right now, like if they were to suddenly go down this route, then it would be way too abrupt for me. And for me already, I would be like, I'm not sure if the scenes in the game were to play out in this next segment the way they do in the video game right now, it would be a drastic change. And I
Mhm.
just don't know if it would work. And they're not really setting up the pieces right now, for things to really kind of mesh well. So, in and not just that, but I think that now this also makes the previous episode, which I did like, kind of way more flawed because, like I said, there's if they only have seven episodes, they need to start moving things, and they are, but they're doing it poorly, and they're cutting out what I feel like are all the wrong things right now. And whereas the first couple episodes, I felt like they were doing a good job of reinterpreting things and changing things and turning and changing one scene but using it in a different way, and et cetera, and then expanding on the council scene, but they only have seven episodes. And now I'm like, okay, that whole council scene probably could have been cut out for a lot
Hmm.
of what they wanted to do in Seattle, and I think they should have really tried to like, yeah, so I don't know. In this episode, it was a really poorly constructed episode in my point of view, just because, one, there's still a lot that they have to do. There's still a lot, and I'm worried. I'm very worried. I'm very worried about what they're gonna have to cut out,
Hmm.
and what you're gonna miss out on, and what viewers are gonna have to miss out on. And once again, they, like, yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Very worried.
it's that's right. I mean, that's kind of what I mean. Like, I miss Jackson in this episode. Like, I still think
Jax,
the best part of this season so far has
yeah,
been the stuff happening in and around Jackson. And like, my fear is that people are going to think that, oh well, like Bella Ramsey can't carry this show now. Now that Joel's gone, Pedro's gone, like Bella Ramsey, and I don't. It's not on Bella Ramsey. Like, I think it's just like the way they're writing Ellie.
yeah,
And I don't know. This was kind of the first time for me where I felt that way a little bit, where it's like we only got Ellie and Dina, and it was probably the weakest episode of the season.
yeah,
Probably one of the weaker episodes of the show in as a whole, I would say.
yeah,
Um, because I feel like the first season I didn't really feel this way about an episode.
yeah,
Like from what I remember, I mean, it was every episode was pretty good.
yeah,
Was very good. So yeah, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried
yeah.
going forward.
And I definitely I agree with you. Jackson was a really interesting thing that they're fleshing out. But now I'm like, okay, uh, you guys might be trying to juggle way too many things right
Yeah,
now.
like how do you even go back to if you have like a plot in Jackson? How do you even go back to like how are you gonna have time to do that now at
Yeah,
this point? Like
How- dude, there's
there's
this.
just so much going on in Seattle.
Yeah, and then another thing is, don't forget, at this point, you've played out Abby's whole side of the story as well. There have been several hours of Abby's gameplay where you played out Abby's point of view that they have yet to flesh out. So they need to get back to that too,
Yeah, we haven't
So
seen her at all. We haven't seen
we
her
haven't seen her
since
at all.
the
We
second
haven't seen her
episode.
since
Yeah,
episode 2. Yeah. So
yeah,
we have that. We have the wolves. They're gonna try to flesh out the wolves a little bit more. They have the Seraphites, they got Jackson, they got Abby, they got Ellie and Dina. And
yeah.
now I'm like,
It's a lot
oh
going
my
on.
God, 3 episodes? I don't know if you can do that.
Well,
You
I
know,
mean, yeah, three episodes. I mean,
and then a
obviously the
whole another season.
second game is split into two. So,
Yeah.
and I don't know how long that season will be. So I'll give them, I guess, yeah. I mean, I'll give them a little more leeway there. Like we'll see. Maybe they don't end where a game player would think they would have ended.
I
Like
have no idea.
at this
I don't know
season,
anymore.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no idea. No idea. No idea.
yeah. And I think it's again, it's interesting because you're probably coming at this where game players are coming at this from, where like a lot of what you're doing is comparing the game to the show.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't have that, and so the stuff you say about Ellie is interesting because like I don't see Ellie as a ruthless killer. She hasn't been in the show, and so that part to me isn't like a letdown where I can see where it would be for you because that's kind of like who you played
Enormous.
as and what you saw in the
John
game.
Wick, dude. She is
Yeah,
female John Wick, bro.
but
She
I
is a
keep saying right, but I keep saying that like it's a video game. There's more. You're gonna have more realism in a show like this, and so I think them like it's less actiony and her just being like a murderer versus like they're fleshing out more characters and other ancillary characters like doing in the game, and I think that's good. I think like yeah, you that
I
makes
agree.
total sense. and they're like humanizing Ellie more, I would say, in the show than it sounds like they did in the game. It sounds like they did do it in the game too, but from what you're describing, it's like she's just ruthless. Whereas in the show, it's not
Yeah.
quite that.
Yeah.
So but so
That's
for me,
good.
it's like I'm not, and not knowing what's coming, I'm not like I'm not looking at it as like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on so much because I don't know what's in the game. This is a different Ellie to the show only watchers, but we do agree on like a lot of the stuff, just some of the writing around her character, even though this is the only Ellie I've known, is still I don't love. Like I just
Yeah.
every episode they just keep it's whether she's just being an asshole to everyone or
Oh, you
careless and dumb or like yeah, it's just some of it just a lot of it just doesn't isn't working for me. And again, I don't I my fear is people are gonna blame that on Bella Ramsey, which is stupid. Like I don't think she's the problem. It's just it's how they're writing the character. And it just yeah, I don't know.
find me an actor that would have made I'm gonna be a dad work, dude.
Exactly. No, yeah.
Find me an actor.
Yeah. Like Will Ferrell. There you go. Like it's a comedy at that point. Like I don't know. Like, yeah, that
Yeah.
line was ridiculous. That line was absurd. I agree.
Oh, dude, and it's
I
just
agree.
lacks awareness. I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, who
Um,
wrote that? I want names, dude. Seriously.
I think we have him. It's Druckmann and Mazeman, dude. I mean, those are the
No
guys.
way that was Druckmann, dude. Absolutely
Maybe
no.
not. Yeah, but he's like signing. He's got to be signing off on
Yeah,
all
I
the
guess.
stuff. I mean,
But Neil Druckmann, he don't get me wrong, like narratively, like structurally, like part two, the video game is not perfect either. But in terms of dialogue, Neil Druckmann is really good at that stuff. So
yeah,
it does hurt me to see like at some points how bad the dialogue can be in the show. So
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of hoping some of the ancillary characters can help kind of pick it up. Like I hope we do see more of Abby, which I think we will. And I hope we see more of Isaac and he gets fleshed out more. I think that's kind of like where they're going with this because of, you're not spending 40 hours with one character like you do in a game.
yeah.
I know you play as like Abby as well a little bit, but like you're not doing that, so they're using other characters to kind of boost it. And I think that's good, that's smart. But I'm hoping that I don't know. I'm hoping they do those characters justice because yeah, I don't know. Right now the main character I would say is they have a little bit of a problem on their hands with with the main
They need
character.
to they need to lock it in here for these next couple of episodes. I think
Yeah.
it can be fixed. I think the pacing right now is a big issue for me. Just because I feel like they're covering too much but not enough at the same time. So
Hmm.
I'm just but yeah, I think but first and foremost though, I need Ellie to lock it in here. Okay. Like she doesn't have to become like a killing machine like she is in the video game because I agree, they are going for that more realistic route. And I think at the end of the day, I do think that is a better move. She's only 19, right? So for her to expect her to have killed 30 people at this point, obviously not realistic.
Yeah.
But I think more than that, what I'm really lacking from is that obsession, right? That just the anger, right? And I'm that sense of urgency that I've mentioned a few times already. And it's just, I'm just I feel like, she's ready to go home. I just at
Yeah.
this point, I'm like, like she could pack her bag. She was one step away from calling it quits, packing
Yep.
her bags up and going back home, and I'm just like, I want to feel that like rage, I just want to feel, like I feel like she's forgotten. Why is she doing this again? I think she forgot, so I just I need to feel that, so whether they fix the writing or Bella Ramsey tries to change it up a little bit in terms of her delivery, definitely is more the writing in my opinion. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's what I'm hoping to see next time, this next week. They could be doing some pretty awesome stuff here. So I am optimistic. There's a lot of really dope parts that's about to come up. So I'm pretty optimistic. It could still be done, but it's I gotta say that this episode has definitely, from being pretty high on the show to all of a sudden very, 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 very worried. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I think you echo the sentiment of a lot of people from what I've been seeing. Um, this episode didn't have the best reviews. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Got
Yeah.
three more left this season, so
Three more
we'll be there.
left.
We'll be there to cover it. We'll
We'll
be
be
there to
there.
cover it. We'll
We'll
be
be
right here,
there.
baby.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you got to say on this episode before we wrap up?
No, I think
All right.
I have gone enough.
All right. Well, um, thanks everyone for watching. If you like this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And as always, comment for more movies and shows that you'd like us non-critics to criticize. So I think that's it. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks, everyone. Peace.